go ahead and start recording. I'm going to assume that it's fine, and I'll start recording there. I don't know.
On your wall here.
I was going to try to set the...
Gay/dolls? Come to your house, you have your wall of jokes, and they're all... Here, let's... 3 in a row. Let's see your wall of premises here. First one I see is trans gay, question mark?
Yeah.
Next note card I see is gay/dolls.
Yeah, gay dolls, that's
and then
right.
The next one is trans/...
Anal.
Anal,
All right.
of course, a classic combo. Oh, and the next one is gay fuck Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Okay, and then above that is
Yeah. These are you know all these jokes. You've
Yeah.
heard all these jokes.
ugly work gay.
Ugly-
Here's a good one. Am I
ugly-
gay?
Yeah, you found my notes.
Yeah.
You found the notes for my special.
This is my wall journal.
Yeah. Look at the camera for me. I feel like we're in this weird predicament where you look good, but I look bright. I
It
think
is a predicament.
I think it's fine.
It's fine. In post, you can.
Yeah, no, I will never do that. What do you mean? I hit record and then I throw away the
That
SD
is,
card.
you fall in the the group of people who pretend like it's I do a podcast, but I don't do any work on it. I don't know why I'm not making it. I hit record and I say bullshit and I should make it. Editing effects. And then there's the other camp of people who over-edit and make it worse. And then they're like, I spent 99 hours editing it, and I don't know why all of these special effects aren't making it go viral.
That was Rick Glassman's thing. He would spend
Those are funny clips.
40 hours editing every podcast and doing whatever jump cuts and all this other shit.
Yeah. I mean, those are fun. They're like weird cartoons and stuff.
I think it was that. I don't know. He would do a lot of snapping and then something would happen. Somebody would disappear and he would fix all that in post. So it worked out well for him. But yeah, you mean people who have the thing where they sit down and they're like, and I think I'm gonna get a cat, but I'm allergic, so maybe I shouldn't. And it's like 42 hours of that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, I'm editing the documentary on my mental decline. That's all the podcast is for the most part is just documenting people slowly giving up.
Or just how angry. A lot of it is like one single guy being angry.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to listen to this.
Really? Wow, you should not listen to my solo podcast.
Oh, I won't.
Yeah.
It's a double now.
Yeah, guess what? It's a promise. You know what? So I made you okay, so
Oh, is that my coffee?
No. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
You want
nice.
that?
Yeah, tell me why you're pissed about this same. No, this isn't mine.
No? Oh, where's yours? Oh, buddy. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to
This
get your
is a
coffee.
Scavenger hunt podcast.
Hold on. You keep talking.
Okay. Hello, I'm here in Santiago's apartment. He lives in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Brooklyn that have no bodegas. There's no bodegas around here. Well, I had to get off on Clinton, Washington, which I found strange.
No, you didn't. You could have gotten off at Lafayette, which would have been closer.
Yeah, my maps told me to get off at Clinton, and then I was walking for 35 minutes, and I was like, and this guy here, he did one of those things where he walked so close to me coming at me that I had to, like, get up. Like, I thought he was going to punch me in the stomach.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Right.
But, yeah, I had to walk for, like, half a mile.
Well, yeah, it's 4 blocks. It's not half a mile.
I think it was like a mile and a half.
But also, the reason there's no bodegas is because bodegas breed poor people.
Yeah,
you know?
This is one of the richest. Walking through here, you're like, It's like an enchanted neighborhood. It's such a beautiful neighborhood.
It's very beautiful, but like after 9 o'clock, there's nowhere to go. There's no food. Everything closes. Everybody's in bed, like getting ready to go back to their jobs where they just like make the world more poor so they can become more rich. Like going back to their marketing, where they're like, how can we trick people that they're unhappy?
How can we kill more whales?
Yeah, exactly. Did you know that makeup, like lipstick, is made from whale blubber?
All of it's like ground up. I saw a video today on TikTok of a meat processing plant.
Yeah.
And a forklift just dropping like a big block of all the ground just on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're like outside.
Oh, you mean like ground up meat, like ground up whales?
Yeah, ground up whales and you're like, you put it on the ground. It's enough that I'm eating whale dick, like somewhere in here. I didn't know it was on the cement.
Right, like you're worried about dropping your food, and then you go see where it's made, and it's just guys like rubbing it on their fucking asshole.
And you drop it, and you're like 5-second rule, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
5 seconds. Meanwhile, you go look at where it's made, and it's just like rotting flesh and just like maggots. There's just a guy whose job it is to wash off the maggots.
Some guy cussing into it.
They just grind up the maggots into the tuna. Yeah, exactly. Some guy just saying slurs into it. Yeah, right. They're not gonna have to like they got a Native American just crying, watching. Yeah. But those are their whole jobs. They're like, "Do we get paid?" They're like, "No, but if you cry 20 more tears, we won't kill your family."
All right.
So that's what they do. I was it's a problem. I like living here because also I don't know how's it sound to you? I feel like I'm significantly louder.
Oh, really? Maybe just because I feel like I'm louder than you when I'm talking too. So maybe it's a good.
You think it's that? I think it's that I hold the mic
right.
I'm
a little bit. Yeah, I mean you do.
I do that. Yeah.
I think I'm holding it appropriate amount.
Really, but this is all recording on one channel, so we should try to match each other's volumes.
All right, hello.
Yeah. You a little closer and me a little further away. How's that?
Ooh, that's a good U2 song.
How's it go?
Okay. You're a little bit. I can't even do. How does Bono sound?
And you're a little closer, I'm a little farther away.
Catorce. That's just my funniest. I love that they put Catorce in a song. Their most popular. Uno, dos, tres, catorce.
Yeah.
It's the funniest song.
They're a very corny band. They're proof that if you're bad, you'll go very far.
Oh, yeah. They just played the leg of the Las Vegas Sphere.
The guy's the guitar's name is The Edge. It's like a concept, right? Do you think the Edge was confused playing the Sphere? He was like, "What? There's no edges here. There's no edges on a sphere." Like,
I don't think I can play.
Yeah, they were like, "Sorry, sir, we can't let you in." It would actually like ruin the concept of a sphere if you were here. Yeah, the Las Vegas Sphere. I saw that. That's what? It's like a fucking stadium.
Yeah, that's covered in.
It's covered in LED screens.
Yeah, it's like $1 billion.
They're like, "Hey, have you ever wanted to be inside your phone?" Yeah. You know what the best part about music is? Screens. What if there were more screens?
Yeah, and you could barely see the band.
Yeah.
But what if we put like a fake field in the back?
Well, that's the thing is, did you watch any of that?
Yeah, it was like a big smokestack. There was like a...
They would like keep switching out what was behind them.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, now they're playing on the moon. And you're like, I really feel like we're in a giant TV in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there was no... Yeah, like, why would I...
It's crazy how the beer is $20 on the moon. I didn't realize that they've developed an economy that quickly.
There's gravity, and I'm very poor still.
Yeah.
Why do we want to go back to the moon?
Right. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, yeah, you can live anywhere on Earth, but you'll just still have your same shitty life, and nothing will be the same. It's like, what if we colonize Mars? And it's like, oh, I'd love to colonize Mars. They're like, what's your credit score like? You're gonna be just poor on Mars. Now you're just gonna have a 5-year commute to poverty. That's all. That's all it's gonna be. I made us coffee and I put yours in the wrong mug, and when I make coffee for my girlfriend, I put milk in hers, and so I put milk in yours.
So you gave me the girlfriend treatment.
No, but that was supposed to be my mug, and then I thought to myself, is he gonna get mad if I give him a cute little mug with a dinosaur on
mugs.
it? Yeah, I thought it would be inappropriate for me to give you a mug.
It's a T-Rex drinking a little bit of coffee.
That's right. Yeah. So
this is your mug.
Whatever. I have 2 mugs. You know, the people. My mug is like muscles and dildos and veiny cocks.
How is it like that?
What do you mean? That's what's on my mug. I wouldn't have like a cute child's mug. It's just like hot girls fingering themselves, and then my dick. I said dicks, but I meant it's my penis.
Sure. I wouldn't give you my cup full of penises. That's my special cup that only I can put my tongue on.
That has a dildo that you suck. You suck the coffee out of.
What's with this sandwich thing you're? Tell me why you're so angry about the sandwich.
I'm not angry about it.
Oh, dang it!
It was fine. But yeah. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was good. It was just so much food for you. Hit me up yesterday, and then you got me this beautiful sandwich. It was so big.
Yeah.
It was like a foldable sandwich.
No, I didn't think it was that much food.
I've never had a crepe that big in my life.
Yeah, it's a Chinese place. It's filled with garbage. You know, they just fill it with. I didn't expect it. It had like a sweet peanut sauce. You know.
Yeah, I guess so. So it wasn't that good to you?
It was fine. It was good. You made it out to be better. But that's why I called you 14 times to verify the quality.
Well, you asked me 4 times yesterday, and then today I got this text, and I was like, I'm going to throw my phone in the ocean and go and move to Utah. I can't handle... It feels like that's what everybody does is like the double check, and I'm like, do I do this?
Yeah, of course you do.
It's only $10.
You message me all the time.
Is this joke bad? Yeah. Is this hack?
Every time I see you, we've been working on the same joke for 4 years. Every time I see you, you're like, "Is this joke funny yet?"
Yeah, I
didn't change it at all.
I think if I say it like this.
Yeah. No, yeah, you told me it was good in the moment, but I wasn't sure if you were just being polite or, if you were
if
like...
it was bad, I would have been like, this is horrible.
You were drunk off the joy of having any food at all.
I mean, yeah, I try to space out my eating, so anytime I get food, I'm like, I can't believe I'm eating.
That's the problem with this neighborhood. You live in Astoria, and it's great for food. There's a lot of food options, and it's all because of who fucking lives there. Like, there's a lot of food options, and it's all cheap, which is what happens when you live in a neighborhood where people have regular jobs. And then you go to Fort Greene, and it's all just I don't know, people who work at like the baby crushing up factory, or they would never work there. They hire Mexicans to work at the baby crushing up factory, and then at the end of the day, they kick them in because they can't we can't let people know what we're doing here, right? And then they come back to their fucking homes and listen to NPR, and then they're like, "Wow, it's so good that they're actually like, I actually think we should have migrants here, not in this neighborhood, but somewhere like in Staten Island where we can like pick them up."
Yeah,
and,
somewhere we could drive to pick them up.
Right.
That would be nice, wouldn't that?
It is very funny. I don't know. Are you following the migrant crisis?
No.
Eric Adams is on tour.
Oh, the people that are in New York. Yeah, that are seeking asylum in New York, and they're outside the hotel.
Oh, those disgusting people I see around.
Yeah, I follow them. I mostly shout at them when I follow them. I go, get off my streets. You're disgusting.
You follow them to make sure that they stay off the sidewalk.
I call the rat czar on them.
Where you're trying to hang out.
They are to me rodents.
Right.
Yeah, Eric Adams is like parading around.
He's parading around Latin America being like, hey, don't come to New York. He's on tour. It's all these countries where like my mom still lives in Colombia, right? And she's like, it is a disaster right here.
Oh, really?
Yes, their currency keeps plummeting. Everybody's afraid to buy real estate because they have a new president who's saying that he's going to take everybody's property and give it away. And
what? Why?
Why? Well, because he's a communist and he thinks.
Did they elect him, or was he kind of?
Yeah. Well, when 90% of the countries living in poverty, you know what I'm saying?
They want communism.
Yeah, they're going to be like, hey, and he's like, how about we just take all the rich people shit? They're like, yeah, that sounds good to us. And all the rich people are like, no, it's a trick. It's a trick. You should keep letting us be mega rich. Yeah, if you live in Colombia, you're either like the poorest person that's ever lived, or you like, my mom doesn't even make a lot of money there, but like everybody is like, if I told you what she made in dollars, you would be like, wow, we make the same amount of money. That's how poor she is. You would be like, wow,
she's as poor as me.
That sounds reasonable. Well, imagine your salary, but because she lives in Colombia, she has like a driver and maids and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's either you're the maid or you're the person with 14 maids because you speak English and can work remotely or do whatever.
So she doesn't like the new president.
No, because my mom had I don't know what her deal is with jobs. I'm just gonna say not her forte, having jobs.
But she has enough money to live comfortably.
But she has enough money to live comfortably right now. But like she moved back to Colombia and then she got this job doing real estate, and then so she was making like more money than she'd ever made in Colombia doing real estate. And then what happened was the leftist president got elected, and then he was like, "Yeah, if you own any real estate, I'm going to take it from you."
Wow.
And so that, understandably, put kind of a halt on people buying real estate. It's like if you fucking sell cookies, and they're like, anyone caught with a cookie will be shot, and you're like, well, this is bad for my business, the cookie making business. That's what happened to her. She's kind of like, she's like, I don't know, man. The thing is, my grandmother's old, so she's like, I'm staying to stay with your grandmother and take care of her. She's like 92, so she wants to leave, but she's kind of like trapped there because what's crazy. And she's like, and you're going to take care of me when I'm old, right? And I'm like, oh, totally. Yeah, that's the type of person.
Would she want you to, would she come back to America?
I think she wants to move to Florida. Anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she used to live in Florida, but she moved back to take care of her mother. That's what a good person she is.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. So, yeah, my parents, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to do with my parents get old, and they're like, because my grandpa went to a home at the end of his life, and, it's like $5,600 a month.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, here's what you do. Your parents, I mean, you do what everyone else does, is you buy them a trailer in Las Vegas, and you say good luck. You know? You're like, here's $20, make it into $1 million, fuck off. Right? You block their number.
That's These are the bootstrap years. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, greatest generation. Prove it.
Yeah.
Let's see it. You can't get by. They're not even, they're boomers. But like, it's so funny. The greatest generation. What do they get by on? They fucking had the Great Depression and then World War II. It's like, okay, great. And then what? And then you're just an annoying old piece of shit.
Yeah. Then they just came back and made the baby boomers the worst generation.
The worst generation. The baby boomers. They're named. Do you know what the baby boom was?
Yeah, they came back from war and just had a bunch of sex.
No, they blow up babies. That's what they're known for. They strap dynamite to babies and they go boom. That's what boomers are known for. Yeah, exactly. So it was after the war. They had a bunch of sex and they had a bunch of babies. And then that's their whole identity is, our parents fucked a lot after the war. That's great.
Drunkenly fucked and danced. And then we were born and everything was cheap.
Yeah.
My dad likes to brag about things where I'm like, this is very bad. It's just all like bragging about not getting caught for crimes. Yeah, or if the police did catch it, they're like,
Oh, you mean when he was younger?
Yeah.
Well, like he'd be drinking and driving. They'd
drinking
be like, hey,
and driving,
pal.
Yeah, like you could speed and the cops would chase you, and then you'd pull over and they'd be like, nice car. And it's like, okay, well, you can't tell me what to do if you just. It's like, yeah, their whole lives were like getting to live like reckless teenagers.
Yeah.
Doing so much coke. And just like a cop pulls you over and they're like, want to shoot my gun? Okay.
Oh, it's like super bad.
Aiming at the nearest minority. Yeah.
That's what the cops were like. Meanwhile, a black guy smoked jail, and they're like, sorry, we're going to have to kill your whole family. I'm sorry, you smoked weed. I said smoked jail. Jesus.
Smoked jail.
Yeah, he smoked a little bit of jail. That's what we call it on the outside. Ooh, reminds me of jail, the way I'm horrifically trapped inside my own thoughts and emotions, inside the paranoia that I have. I was thinking about that. It's just like it is insane how different the effects of weed are. You like it, right?
Yeah, I like weed, but I definitely smoke it less. I think now I'm craving more of an upper. I think that's why I like caffeine pills.
Yeah. You should try Coke.
No, I'm too afraid.
You're too broke.
Yeah.
That's the cruelest thing is get a broke guy addicted to cocaine.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean that guy's selling his mom's stuff quick.
Yeah,
because you always got to buy it. That's the thing, right? You finish it quick, and then you're always buying more and more.
That's if you're
a night of coke is like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
If you're addicted, sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but who just casually? I guess people will do a line or two.
Yeah, cocaine is one of those things where there's a lot of people who just do it when it's around, and then 10 minutes later they're like, "I'll suck your dick for more, please." Which is why a lot of guys carry it around. I knew guys I knew like party guys when I was living in Berlin, and one guy just like very proudly told me, he was like, "Yeah, not everybody does Molly and not everybody does ketamine or speed, but cocaine, any girl will just suck your dick for coke."
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
I think it's a lot of guys' strategy.
Wow.
I think if you go to Los Angeles, are you kidding? Did you not know that that's why people have? You thought people like cocaine? Nobody likes cocaine. Guys hate cocaine because it doesn't make your dick work. So what they do is they give it to women, and then women they have they don't carry any money because they think everything should be just given to them. So then they're like, "Well, I want more," and the guy's like, "Well, we're gonna have to work out a deal because it's $100 a bag." And that's how you get cast in a Hollywood movie.
Yeah,
that's how it all works. And then she's like, "Well, I can't just blow you if you're not going to cast me." And they're like, "You want to be in Transformers 3?
You want to be the lead? It's fine."
It really is. Here's the fucking thing with the Weinstein shit. By the way, I know
I was wondering when we were going to get.
Everybody's been asking me. They're like, "Hey, what's your take on something that happened 7 years ago?" Right? Every day I get letters in the mail. Inexplicably, I get owls. They send owls to me, like in Harry Potter. I meant to say doves, but that's how little I know. Did they actually send mail with doves, by the way?
I think it was pigeons. Pigeons back in the day.
All right, doves are for weddings. Doves are for weddings. Imagine a guy just has to separate the doves from the pigeons. Is a dove just a white pigeon?
Yeah, it's a.
Or is it a different breed of bird?
I don't know. What
altogether.
Is a dove white?
Yeah,
white doves.
White doves. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah, Petey has a joke about that.
Right.
It's a little melanin dove. He's a little dove with some melanin in it.
All right.
Okay, so what's your Weinstein take?
Oh, my Weinstein take is all these. It's like nobody should be a famous actor. Like that's not a thing that should exist in the first place. Because it's like it's kind of like if you think about comedy now, right? There's like think about like before the internet or before television. If you wanted to be a comic or an actor, you would just be like in a traveling troupe and you would do that, or maybe you would get like a residency in London. Mm-hmm. Or in whatever city, and you could act there, and that was kind of it, right? I don't know how celebrated people got to be, but then as soon as you have like recordings, it was like, okay, well, we can just take all the fame and put it on one person, and that's fine for. I mean, I don't know. Is it fine for comedy? You basically just become this product, but it's like you have to be good enough to a certain level to be sellable, and then after that, it's like it could be anybody, and it's just a guy's choice. So it's like, yo, if a guy is making you that person, and he wants you to blow him, like I'm sorry, you already want a horrible thing. It's like you're like becoming famous is already like kind of a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you expect, not to get raped? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's
like,
funny. Yeah, it's not going to be all. Yeah, on the way up, it's not going to be an amazing ladder.
Right. It's like you literally want to make a deal with the devil, and you're like, well, this guy's kind of a scumbag. You know, I never really fucking.
That's weird.
I didn't realize he wasn't just going to give this to me. Me, one of a billion hot girls who's, good enough to be in a movie. Yeah. And also because I think acting is bullshit. Like, I don't know the first thing about it, but just fucking, you just say the words, right? I don't know. I bet you actors would eat me alive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very hard and difficult, but I think it's just like, I just don't care about it. I don't really care about it.
Sure.
This is something that I think about. I thought about the same thing too, and it's, I like how now that social media apps have kind of destroyed the celebrity level that we used to grow up with. I know a lot of people complain about that, but I think it's fun to see. I don't have any grudges against famous actors, but people who have been so famous, nobody really cares about them anymore, and more younger kids flock to like obscure people who go viral on TikTok for stupid things. Like you'll see like a crowd of people flocking around somebody, and you're like, "Oh, is that a reality?" And they're like, "That's the girl that eats oranges underwater." And you're like, "What?" And it's just like somebody who does something. There's like a girl who films herself taking a cold shower every day on TikTok, like dressed. There's nothing sexual about it. She's huge.
Yeah.
And it's like the stupidest things go viral, and you can kind of get a little bit mad because you're like, why are you famous? But then you see people like Drew Barrymore who are trying to like make apology videos, and everybody's like, who cares? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, you're saying now people are micro famous, but it's for doing a thing, whereas before, like Drew Barrymore was a child actor. Like I think her parents are industry, and they just were like, all right, fucking use our kid and make them famous.
Yeah,
and that's like your whole career was just handed to you.
Yeah, well, I think that's good too, but also I don't like how people are famous forever. Yeah. It's like I think the people on TikTok, they'll get famous, but they're famous for something stupid, and then I'll think they'll self-destruct.
Well, that's what's awesome about like the Adam Friedland show, right? Is or Eric Andre's show, right? You think like, why would anybody go on there? And it's like, it's not people at the height of their fame.
Yeah.
It's people who were famous 10 or 15 years ago. And then they're like, their agent's like, hey, this show wants to do it. And they're like, what are the numbers on it? And they're like, 6 million people watch it. And they're like, okay. And then they just go there and get completely humiliated at just like grasping at fame again.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, I think about that I don't know if I want to be, I don't think it's, within the realm of possibility right now, but being super famous would be...
Oh, it seems like a nightmare. Even being like mildly... I think the threshold is like, if you're getting recognized on the street, all of a sudden it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems cool, but I think to be on the other side of it all the time would be weird.
I think the idea is it seems cool because then someone's like, hey, are you Santiago? And you're like, yeah, do you want to have sex right now?
Yeah, And
then there's an article, Santiago propositioning young fans. And you're like, I don't know. She looked 21. And then they just like are just shitting on these poor humble guys who just wanted to fuck a teenager.
Jeff Ross is getting canceled now too. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing with Jeff Ross, did you watch that?
I just saw one TikTok on the train, hear about it.
Oh my god, dude! There's all these. I'm a sucker for like this guy's a creep documentaries. I love watching them. But the Jeff Ross one is like he was dating like a 16-year-old girl, something like that, and then he went home. I don't know how he was dating her, but like
I guess the dad was cool with it.
Well, yeah.
From the one TikTok that I watched.
She met her dad, and he goes, "You're on television? All right, that's cool with me. You guys are fucking good.
And how long
Go
ago
ahead."
was this, though?
No, this was like in the 90s, I think. Right? So what? That's 30-something years ago?
Isn't that when Seinfeld was dating a 17-year-old?
Sure. Yeah. But like here's the thing is like they would like bring him around to comedy clubs and stuff, and everyone would be like, it wasn't today where it was like you're canceled, but they'd be it would look, it wasn't even like this is morally wrong. It was more like, hey, this is kind of annoying. Now there's just a kid at our table.
Yeah. Hey,
right?
can you get Jeff's girlfriend from the green room? Who is she? She has braces. Could you get her out?
Right. You're like, she keeps ordering gummy bears for the table. It's kind of fucking, it's hard to eat with her. She's really a picky eater. She keeps asking for ketchup. She's embarrassing us at this fancy restaurant.
She doesn't like her food to touch. It's gross. It's
Yeah.
Okay, so that was but I also don't think to this point I don't think anybody can truly get canceled anymore for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of it matters.
Yeah, I think like the Lizzo and the whatever, like you'll get some angry people commenting for 4 days and then it's done. Unless you're like a Danny Masterson or something, but then you go to jail.
Oh yeah. Did you read about that? Did you read anything about that?
Not really. I was a little weird. The thing that I'm thinking about now is I think it's weird that Ashton Kutcher stepped down from his job.
Did he?
At the sex trafficking thing.
What do you mean?
He was like, he stepped down from like.
Oh, he was like an anti-sex trafficking.
And he's like, I must step down from helping kids being trafficked. And they're like, good. We're doing nothing, but you shouldn't help.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing?
Right. So he was raising money for like some anti-child trafficking organization, and he's like, "Sorry, I got to step down. My best friend is actually really against this."
Yeah.
Like I stand with Danny Masterson. Yeah, dude. His whole thing was okay. So he's in Church of Scientology.
No. Okay.
Okay. All these guys are Scientologists, and so the allegations were that he was like drugging women and raping them, which seems to be like. This is what's odd. Is like, isn't the whole point of being famous that you can get laid?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the other thing too. Why do you have to resort to? They
Yeah.
already on site.
Yeah.
You could do anything you want if they're unconscious. That's what fame grants you access to.
Maybe that's why they do it. They're like they have to drug, they drug women, and they're like, "Wow, this is just like before I was famous.
Yeah.
This really brings me
Nostalgia.
back." Yeah. It's just like the one thing that they can connect to,
Yeah.
and or they're just like so tired of like people looking at them that they're like,
Yeah.
apparently, fucking. Okay, so anyway, all right, hold on, we'll get to that. Ask me about Jerry Seinfeld in a second.
Okay.
But
Siri, remind me.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So then the whole thing was like these girls were in the Church of Scientology, and so they reported him to the church, and then the church was like, "Ooh, that's actually fucked up that you let him rape you. You're gonna need to take a purification course," and they would charge them like $10,000 to take a course, like to be like, "Wow, you were tempting that poor man." So they were like, I think they're notorious for like covering up sex crimes of their members.
Weird of a church.
Yeah, kind of weird. Kind of weird. Yeah, so that was the whole thing. And then he got charged. And
So
then,
he just kept he was able to do this as much as he wanted.
yeah, I think they were like enabling him, or he was like a high-ranking member in the church. I also don't know. I'm making all of this up.
Sure.
No, this is like from an article I read 3 months ago or whatever the fuck that was relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was his thing. Yeah, no, I was gonna say Jerry Seinfeld. My friends did a show with him at Gotham, and before you come in, somebody comes in and they go, Jerry's gonna be here. It's 7:08. They give you like to the minute. They're like, we need everyone gone from the green room, and and then they say, hey, don't make eye contact with him. You have to look down when Jerry Seinfeld is in the room, if you want to talk about fame. But then they were saying he's there with, they're saying that immediately once he gets off stage, it's like he's being mobbed. He's like one of the most famous dudes around. So like you think about the type of level of fame, like, okay, if you're on TV for, what was he on, 9 years, 6 years, and then reran for 30 years.
Still.
Still one of the most popular shows ever, one of the most recognizable faces ever. It's just like everywhere you go, it's just like fucking mobs of people.
Yeah, that's what I wondered about comedians in cars getting coffee is like, how did they?
Well, that's why they had to be in cars.
It's one of the only places.
No, they probably had to like fucking. Do you think that they had to like shut down the coffee shop and get extras of people drinking coffee just so people wouldn't bother Jerry Seinfeld?
Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Carrey, and then the waitress is coming by like, more coffee? I'd be like, what are you talking about? This girl would be fainting.
And are you telling me like pretty much every how do they find coffee shops without some bitch on a work call who's like, we need those by Friday?
Yeah.
Every cafe I go into now is like some lady who's like a super serious businesswoman. It's like, hey, if you're such a fucking serious businesswoman, why are you in a Pete's Coffee right now?
Office?
Where's your office when you're sitting there chewing people out? You're gonna fire someone? You're a homeless woman. You work out of a homeless guy's living room.
Where homeless people pee.
Yeah, exactly. She has to do like, excuse me, and then she has you watch her laptop while she like steps through. Dude, I went to a bathroom in Times Square recently because I had like 2 things. And so I found this cafe. It's all just like delivery guys are like an entire class of society now. It's like the lowest tier, but you're still working and making money.
Yeah.
It's just like one step above homeless. And those guys are hustling. But like
hustling hard.
Yeah, they're hustling so hard that I read a story about like somebody was trying to introduce a bill to be like, hey, there's too many e-bikes in the city now, and it really is dangerous. Isabel Hagen, right? She's a classical musician. She shared a story about like a cellist who's walking down, and these guys ride on the sidewalk, and they hit the cellist, and she's paralyzed and can't play cello anymore. Like her living is gone. Do you know what would have to happen to you, like that you can't tell jokes anymore? Right?
Your voice. Yeah, you can do. I mean, if anything happens to you, you get handicapped, you immediately could audition for
Right.
AGT.
All of a sudden, you go on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, it's really.
And you're doing really racist jokes, and they're like, "Well, I don't know. You face a lot of adversity, dude." I saw one of those where they brought a fucking guy out who was like, he'd been wrongly imprisoned, and then they did like DNA testing 30 years later. So he's like in his 50s. He'd just done 30 years of time for like a wrongful, what's it called?
Imprisonment?
Wrongful imprisonment, sure.
What happens then?
He got charged wrong.
Do you get millions of dollars?
You get like $1 million. You get very little money for what is your entire life. And so he comes out and he was like, I was wrongly imprisoned, and then I was cleared of charges. And then he sang some song about like, we'll get a second chance, right? But then they're like, and how does it feel now to be out of prison after being wrongly imprisoned? And he's like, I feel pretty good, honestly. And then he just starts crying, and everybody starts clapping like we're there for you. And it's like, you people are fucking sick, right? You people are mentally ill, dude. Yeah, that's the other thing is I met a AGT lady, very nice, when I was in Los Angeles. And I asked a guy who is a clean comic, and I was like, why don't you do AGT? And he's like, oh, they make you scrub your whole...
Oh, wow. Yeah. Even like if you get on it, like everything.
If you get on it, you've never done comedy before. There's nothing of you online, just because I think, I think if anybody now that we're in the age of like everybody has to fucking churn out content, it's like if you throw a rock, I don't know, unless it's the most boring person on earth, they've said something that's going to upset someone.
Yeah. Well, the good thing with that is at least on Instagram, and so you can archive so it seems invisible. Sure. So then you can kind of blow it up. Yeah, that's all those. I heard a conversation the other day with working comics that were like agents are calling them and being like, "Hey, I saw that you're getting emails from the AGT. Don't do it.
Oh, really?
Just don't."
Why?
I guess it's just like you need to be a deaf, guy with one arm, and like you can't. It's never going to go anywhere if you're just a regular person.
Right.
Well, that's also the thing too. I don't like the fad of like. I'm
autistic.
Weren't
you bisexual last year? What's happening now? Everybody's got a new thing.
Is like, what can I glom on to say on stage?
Sure. Yeah, it's annoying. But with the cancellation thing, I think it's like I don't think that's a real thing. I think it's like there's 40 people on Twitter who are just like, we're going to cancel you. And meanwhile, nobody cares about anything.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking Lizzo's forcing people to eat bananas out of a pussy, and people are like, just play the song, man.
Yeah.
How is this my business?
Yeah, nobody cares. Everybody's like, look, I would eat a banana out of a pussy if I got to dance with Lizzo. Do you want to work at the fucking the meat factory?
Right.
Is that the price
right.
to be in Amsterdam?
Making the Native Americans cry.
It's actually on my list of things I would love to do.
Yeah. Have you had sex with a prostitute?
No. I've been to Thailand. So,
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And no, you weren't tempted?
No, I think my buddies, we walked into it. We went to the old Capitol and we did check out the brothels to be like, what? But this is true. We were like, okay, let's see. I was like 20 years old. I was like, let's check these out. And then we walked in and it was everybody's like 13.
Oh,
and just
fuck.
like,
that's fucked up.
How am I gonna ask me to spend all my money in one place? No, but it was. This.
Like, I need to eat. I can't.
Yeah.
You know?
This is we walked in. Me and my buddy were like 20 years old, and then they were all like 13. The lady, the madam, that's what we call him, comes out. She's like, "Take your pick," and we're like, no, thank you. And then we turn around to walk out, and she goes, "Wait, they all shower." And I was like, in that case. I didn't know I was in the shower brothel.
Oh, I didn't know these were clean teenagers. Yeah. That's so good. You should put that on the sign. It just says teenagers, you know?
I thought these were tranny downs.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very, very funny sales. One time in Thailand, me and the same guy, I went there with like 4, and 2 of them stayed for like 4 weeks, and then me and another buddy stayed for like an extra 2.
Yeah.
And then we were
so 6 weeks total.
Yes, if you are a mathematician.
If you're a genius like me, you'll know that 4 plus 2
you can add that up. Actually, we had to cut and edit, and we had to.
Initially, I was like 32 weeks, and you're like, no. We tried 14 times, which in my mind is 7. All right. So you stayed. 6 weeks in Thailand.
We went all over. Yeah, every 3 days we like went to a new place, and then there's Chiang Mai, which is all the place. If you're ever next to somebody who is white and straight, and they're on a first date, they will bring up how they went to Thailand and how they love Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Every week, me and my girlfriend will try at a different restaurant. There's always some guy who's talking about going to Thailand right next to me.
Yeah.
And
it's also the biggest red flag on a date.
Yeah.
You're like, I love Thailand. And they're like, why do you like it so much?
Ooh. I think the orange juice is fresh squeezed there.
The orange juice showers.
Yeah, exactly.
This is fresh showered orange juice. You wouldn't know it because they don't put it on the sign at the orange juice stall. Yeah.
But one time we were eating at a restaurant, and there was this, if you're, one of the things is impoverished people with like no limbs because they're still like landmines.
Yeah.
So we'll sell oranges on the side of the road.
Right.
And then we saw a white guy pushing a cart, and we're like, oh, that's crazy. And then he came up to us and he goes, oranges? And we're like, no. And then my buddy goes, hey, not to be rude here, but you're like a British guy and you're selling, like, how'd you end up? This is like a bad thing. And he goes, I came here for the girls years ago, and it's taken control of my life.
Wow.
And
Jesus.
we're like, all right, well, have a good one.
You're like, got any grapes?
Yeah.
You got any fucking mangoes?
It was wild to be like, he came here for the ladies, and now he's...
Imagine being so into underage lady boys that you throw it all away. Like, you're addicted.
Yeah. That
you
you're
just
like,
can't get enough.
That you're like, I could sell oranges. I think I could do that. What's special about my oranges? Nothing at all.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that it was like, do you think he had a good life in the UK? Like, do you think he walked away from a good life, or do you think his life he was just selling oranges in the UK, and he's like, well, at least over here, the age of consent is 0, so that's fucking...
Just travels all the time with his oranges.
Exactly.
Just to scan them at the airport.
Well, dude, I would meet that. I went to Edinburgh, and there's all these street musicians. Street musicians, I used to want to be a street musician, and then I realized that it's like, all you do is play, like, Beatles covers or... Ed Sheeran, so they would do looping, but it would be like dum 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 dum.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Like the August Rush.
Yeah, the corniest
hitting the guitar.
Yeah. The corniest type of looping, and you just have to sing pop songs. But they were like, they're all Australian. They're like, I'll go down to Thailand. I'll do some busking over there. And then there's people like I would go like on the Reddits to read about the street performing, and people are like, why are you fucking begging? Why are you begging in Southeast Asia? Like, these are the poorest people in the
So
entire
poor.
world.
So, dude,
right?
You would take buses like up mountains to different, and there'd be people living on the side of the mountains in like a dirt hut.
Yeah.
So you just drive by and see like a dirt hut and naked people
Right,
inside. Like,
right.
huh? And you're
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
These people don't even have clothes. And they're like, okay, and now here is 7 Nation Army if you guys could spare any money.
Yeah, you're playing shots, slowed down acoustic version.
I work out. Yeah, it's I don't know why Australians love Thailand.
Well, Asia's closer to them, just
Yeah.
geographically.
Mm-hmm. They all, yeah. What do? They go and they pick broccoli in Perth, save up a bunch of money, and then go to Thailand.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you wanna do like it's basically like expat loser lifestyle, which is like you bum around and you take like entry level jobs. But the thing when I was younger was like, yeah, you can go to Korea and teach English and you'll walk away with 10 grand saved. Like they'll pay you, they'll cover your stay while you're there and they'll cover whatever. And unless you're like, addicted to prostitutes, you should walk away with $10,000. And then you can use that and travel for another year in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, my buddy did that.
Right.
Yeah, started out teaching in Japan and then now has made his own money and lives in Germany. Lives in
Right.
Berlin.
Nice. Yeah. Berlin used to be cheap, used to be a very cheap place to go. And now it's like, I don't know, 60, 70% as expensive as New York, but without almost any of the things that are appealing about New York. Berlin is a great city, but you go there and you're like, you take drugs the first weekend and you're like, okay, well, the techno clubs are great. What else is there? And they're like, no, that's kind of it.
Really?
Well,
is the food good?
No, the food is atrociously bad.
Really?
Yeah, Germany.
So what would you do? Would you try to go to another town to get like good food on the weekends or
There's
something?
no other town. There's like Germany as a country has very bad food. The immigrant food there has been adapted to German taste. So like you go to Thai food and it's just like cream based.
Ah.
It's all creamy and non-spicy.
So what's their? So that's what they love, just like heavy milk based stuff.
Yeah, heavy milk based stuff,
Like
and they like sausages. They like a lot of pork, and it's all just like all of Eastern Europe is like basically pork or lamb and potatoes, just like super heavy red meats. Yeah, stuff like
It's so
that.
funny because some of them are so beautiful, and the diet sounds insane.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of it is like you're beautiful when you're 25.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 40, you're just like, like that's just what happens in that part of the world. Like it's almost like they talk. One of those said like a curse on them, and
Yeah.
it's like, and you're gonna be the most beautiful woman that we've ever seen for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And
How's
then,
that sound?
And then you're gonna be the most shriveled woman, right? To the point that they're like, we can't find her eyes, right? They try, like you pass out and they're trying to resuscitate you. They're like, we don't know which one of these folds is her mouth. They're just like blowing into folds on your neck, and you're like,
I used to be Miss Germany.
yeah, I used to be Miss Germany, right?
Well, okay, so and you lived there for 5 years.
I lived there for 5 years, yeah.
And where would you go back if you had to move back to Europe?
I think places like Lisbon is.
Everybody talks about
Everybody talks about
Lisbon.
Lisbon. Well, I think it's relatively affordable. The food is good there, and the weather is nicer.
Okay.
And you have the beach. Barcelona's popular. Greece is cheap. Italy seems amazing. I've never been to Italy.
I've been to Italy.
Okay, cool.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Italy was good. So if you move, know that. It was as good as that sandwich.
Italy looks like the type of thing. Hold on, let's talk about Italy in a second. But I was talking about Thailand, and it was like the thing is, you went when you were 20, so it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy not to sleep with a prostitute when you're 20. I feel like when you're younger, you're like, who would ever sleep with a prostitute?
Yeah, what was funny is you meet people, which is so strange. It's such a big country, but you're traveling in all these hostels. You bump into the same people. We kept bumping into this pair of German guys, and like 5 times, to the point where we just all traveled together.
Yeah.
And one of them was hell bent on getting prostitutes.
Yeah.
And all of us were like, "Why?" And he
Yeah.
was like, "What? No, why you?" He's like, "I'm in Thailand. I
Yeah.
want to fuck the prostitutes all the time."
Yeah, he was like, that's what you do here.
And the other one, every time we get drunk, you just go, "Guys, so sorry about the Holocaust." Again. We're like,
That's weird. That's weird that they're obsessed with it and feeling bad about it. And what else is weird is fucking Jews who constantly come up and be like, the Holocaust, huh? And it's like, well, you didn't fucking experience it.
Yeah.
Right? All that it's doing for you is furthering your comedy career while you write songs about how fucking, wow, the Holocaust was bad. It's like, it feels like it hasn't really done anything bad to you specifically. Like, my grandmother suffered so much. It's like, did you know her? Do you hang out with your fucking grandmother?
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people don't.
No, she can barely talk. She's all fucked up from what the Nazis did to her, you know?
Sweet tattoo. So what are you saying? You think when you're older, your 30s and 40s, and your life is shitty, you go to Thailand and meet
30s, 40s, 50s, right? You see these guys.
There are a lot of 50. Yeah, Chiang Mai is like the retirement area. A lot of American dudes.
Well, yeah. Well, like you see this thing where, fuck, what was I gonna say? I don't know. Yeah, when you're in your 20s, like, it's fine to hit on people in your 20s. Now I'm 35 and I go to Bushwick, and I feel like I can spot that this entire neighborhood is girls who are 24 and guys who are 36 who are in bands, who all, who have greasy hair and give them cocaine. That's what, like, the entire economy of Bushwick is.
Bushwick is, I just hate it.
Oh, it's the worst. But it's like, look, they make the rooms relatively affordable compared to the rest of New York, but it's actually not.
No,
like, Astoria is cheaper.
Shitty.
If you go to Flatbush, it's way cheaper. So it's only cheap if you're an idiot and like have to live off the L train. So people are like, they're like, I have to live off the L, and they just keep going further and further
far
away from Manhattan.
Bushwick is so far sometimes.
But it's where these girls move when they have no clue, and it's just all guys in bands who look like they look like rockers. They've got like grease in their hair and neck tattoos.
To say, you see a guy with a real chain and a lock for a necklace, and then they take it off and they have a tattoo of that same chain, and you're like, wow, you're really really stupid, huh?
Yeah.
Full fishnets. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people in full fishnet.
Yeah, unironically, everybody there has a look, and that look is moronic. Is what the look is.
I'm a huge idiot.
But okay, so but I go to Bushwick now, and I'm like, okay, I feel like this is where you can kind of like get away with this a little bit, and that's why guys do this.
Probably.
But it feels like most places, like, I'll see a girl who's 22, and I'm like, oh, I'm 35 now. She's not even looking at me like a guy she could fuck. Like, to her, I'm an old man on the street, and she's like, wow, look at that sweet old man who keeps staring at my ass. What a sweet old, probably reminds him of his dead wife or something like that.
He's probably about to die soon.
Yeah, exactly. Probably his last wish. But then, if you told, and that's only at 35. Imagine 10 years later. Yeah. Imagine like it keeps getting like this, but like the fucking people you want to fuck are still like less and less interested. And the older you get in life, the more success you have from a career standpoint, right? That you're like, you need $500? Okay, well, you have something I want.
Yeah.
I have $500. We could easily work something out. So, I guess I'm not impressed that you didn't have sex with prostitutes in Thailand. That you didn't have.
I did the norm. So I'm not a hero?
Yeah.
I gotta stop talking about this on stage. So, okay, you're going to Lisbon.
I guess that's where I would go. Oh, yeah, Italy seems great, but it's like, have you ever done this thing where I always see people's vacations to Italy? I would like to go soonish. I'll probably try and go this year. But I always see people's vacations to Italy, and you see these beaches. Did you go to like what's it called, Amalfi and all that stuff?
No, I didn't. I would love to. Yeah, all the Lake Como, whatever.
Cinque Terre or whatever.
No, I didn't go. Maybe I went to the Amalfi, but like drove through it. I went to like
the Amalfi gas station is one of the best gas stations, dude. They've got this Slurpee that it's like an Italian Slurpee, so it's this big and.
I did a little 2-week tour on a bus, and then I stayed with my family and wherever my family's from.
Is your family Italian?
Yes.
Oh, could you communicate?
The only thing that I have cousins that are like my age there, but we were all like 14, so all they knew in English was like penis and vagina. So you're just in a room with my cousins, and they're just like, penis? And you're like, yes. And they're like, dick. And you're like, this is going to be a week of this, right? And they would just be like, a boosie. And then show their armpit hair and laugh and run away. And you're like,
How old were they? 35. They're full-grown men. That's just what Italian men are like. It turns out, and then at the end, it turns out it's like they're completely fluent in English. And then they're like, no, that's
Yeah,
what
on the last day. See you later. Goodbye, Charles. Nice meeting
see
you.
you later.
You're like, what? And they're like, a vagina. And you're like, I knew it.
And you're like, I thought you just didn't speak English. They're like, no, that's what I would have been saying in Italian too. That's just what was going on in my head. It's a pussy, penis, penis breasts.
They all have very tight capris. They love capri pants.
Capri
there.
pants?
This is, when I was 14. But I was astounded by how many people had like the buzz cuts with like the stars.
Yeah.
Like, and then just capris.
Well, it's Euro trash.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's a look. What are capris? Those are the ones that goes halfway. They're in half. They're
like up here.
They're halfway to shorts, but they're not
still
quite
stupid.
pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to leave. I think I would go to Italy. That's where I think I would. Yeah, if I wasn't tied to comedy, or if I give up next year, maybe just.
Yeah, I do fantasize about quitting comedy and then just traveling. But like, I had a little bit of money saved at some point, and I went to Europe. I had a guy in Iceland who offered me a room, so
cool.
I stayed with him in Iceland, and then I went to Berlin. But then my visa expired, so I had to go out of the Schengen zone. So I went to Belgrade, Serbia. So I went to Belgrade for 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, I could live here for like quite a long time.
Oh, nice.
It's like super cheap. But then after like a week of I was also just like, all I would do is wake up and drink.
Mm-hmm.
So like after a week of that, I was like, this is like horrifically bad. I don't know anybody. There's nothing to do. I have no projects. Like I have enough money for like another 3 months, but it's like, it's only because it costs like $1,000 a month to be here.
Wow.
And you're like, this is depressing. It's like you have no life. You're completely isolated. So like the idea of travel, it seems cool when you look at like a hot girl going into a pool on Instagram. And then you get there and it's like, well, are you alone? It's like, yeah, you're just alone in a place where like you don't speak the language. You can't really make friends with anybody, or if you do, it's other people who are traveling and are going to be gone soon. So it's like all you have to do there is consume. It's And it's brutal. It's no way to live. I don't know. Like I fantasize about traveling. I fantasize about traveling and being like, oh, what if I just give up on comedy and I start drinking again, and then I live my life for pleasure. It's like, yeah, I mean, the way I drink, it's like the first 2 drinks are fantastic, and then the next 20 are pretty upsetting.
Yeah.
The next 20 get like progressively worse to the point that I'm just like, I have horrific heartburn, I'm bloated, and I'm vomiting, and then I'm like, we should get Coke. We got to get some. I was like, I'm running out of gas. I would just drink so much that I would just like pass out. That was like, I would just pass out in bars or on the street or in different places. And then you would
wake up in a bar or something?
Yeah,
would the bartender ever be like, buddy? Like,
yeah, all the time. Yeah. And I would be like, sorry, man, can I get another drink? And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Like you can't just sleep here. It's not a hotel. And I was like, can I drink here? I'd be like lying on the fucking bench. Yeah, that was a big part of my life.
How long do you think you were drinking like that?
I was drinking for 9 years, and maybe that heavily for like 6 or 7.
Okay. And how hard was it? How hard was the first few weeks? Was it as hard as everybody says, the shaking, the withdrawals?
Oh, yeah. I woke up with like night sweats, and drinking suppresses your dreams. So now all of a sudden I had dreams. But like if you haven't dreamt in 8 years, every dream is terrifying. Like it could just be like the Muppets, singing me to sleep. And I'm like, why are these monsters coming after me?
I'm used to total blackness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted the void. Where's my precious void that I wanted to stare into? You get horrific withdrawal, and I also had a job, so it just felt like being hungover for like 2 weeks. It was not fun. But anyways, I fantasize about doing that again. I fantasize about maybe this time I could go back and do it right.
Maybe I could be a nice blackout.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I could just learn to stop at like 14 drinks.
Well, that's the thing in comedy. You see people that seemingly handle it well and are a good time, and then that helps because they're buddies, and you're like, that's the drunk I need to be, and you're like, I couldn't do it. I'm an addictive. No,
but it's also like I stayed at the bar at a comedy hang recently, and it's like, yeah, it's also because I leave at 1. Yeah, right? Those people stay till 4, and then by the end of it, they're like,
yeah, you're just like, whoa, tomorrow's gonna suck. And the way that things are now, to have a blank day, you're like, now I'm so behind.
Right.
I'm so behind.
On everything, but it's also like I don't drink. I couldn't imagine spending $50 every time I went out to a bar.
I've been doing it recently a little bit to be like, in an effort to be more social. If someone's like, "You want a drink?" and I'm like, "Yes," and then if people, I try to be like, "You want another?" Because me, I'll have 4 drinks, and I'm like. I get so drunk so fast because I don't drink that I'm like, I can say yes 3 times and then I got to Uber home. But the money, you get home the next day and I'm like, oh, I spent $70 and I had 1 drink.
And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Is this fun? I knocked over a guy's drink at the gutter on Monday and I was like, sorry, I'll buy you another one. It was a beer. And I was like, which one was it? Allagash White. Okay, go. $8. And I give the bartender a 10 and he's like, thanks. And I was like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it would be insane not to give him $2 when it's 8.
Yeah.
What are you going to be like? I want one back. So you're like, oh, great. So a beer is $10 now.
Yeah, for sure it's $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And then you have a beer and you're like, that did nothing.
Yeah. You're like, I need 4 of these or 5 to really start to have a good time. And it's just like, did I just spend $50 fucking dollars?
Yeah, on 30 minutes of hanging out.
Yeah, that's the alcohol.
And then a lot of people will be like, let's go to another bar. And then that kind of resets the hang.
Yeah.
And then I don't like this, which I understand it, is they'll be like, all right, I'll get it. You guys get the next round. And you're like, okay, so that's going to be $40, right?
Yeah, right.
All right.
But the idea is you're going to stick around for the next 3 rounds and get 3 free ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, usually it's not. Usually you don't say, you get this round, I'll get the usually you fucking offer.
Yeah.
Right? You're hanging out with an asshole if he's like, you get these and fucking what I gotta go. That's the other thing is like you talk, but it's like we're at bars drinking with people and they're like, yeah, I make $50,000 a year, and you're like, how are you at the bar? Like you think of bars as like, I don't know, we know a lot of broke comics, but I think like a certain group of people, a certain like type of people, there's the idea that the bar is the first place your money goes. And if you have money in your pocket, that's like to spend at the bar. It's like, oh, I got $40. We're going to have a good time. We're going to go to the bar. As opposed to like, like looking at money more holistically and being like, yeah, this is not how you want to be spending your money. But yeah, you talk to people and they're like, I'm making $50,000 a year. And it's like, yeah, how are you here? It's like, we got to start thinking of bars as like, I don't know, what's a very fancy thing to do? Like if you went to a restaurant and spent $50, you're like, this is a pretty decent little restaurant.
Yeah.
But then you go to a bar and they're like, yeah, this is the shithole diarrhea palace. And it's like, you're also
here. All the walls have no paint and it smells like lead.
Right. It smells like somebody's been pissing here continuously for 800 years. Right. This is all the piss like mixed with previous generations.
That is the funny thing about bars is somebody can the shittier the bar, the more someone's like, that's my spot.
Right.
Like you can have a really shithole bar and people are like, I know this place. Yeah. It's kind of a secret.
Yeah.
The people there are always bleeding. And they're like, ooh, take me.
Yeah. But so here's the thing. My point is with restaurants is like you wouldn't just like willy-nilly, like people are like, hey, we're going to go have a $70 meal. Do you want to come pop in for a $70 meal? You know what it is? It's the thing that you do it one by one. And so like, you're like, I'll get one. And then you get a little drunker and you're like, what's another $10? And then you get even drunker and you're like, what's another $10? Cause you're already in the hole for it. And that's how you get up to 70. Whereas like you go into a restaurant and you're like, I'm not going to give you $70.
Yeah. Cause you're a little sober looking at the dessert. When you get the dessert, you're like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, that's why they don't show it to you in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like $15 for a brownie? Go fuck yourself. And then you've had a glass of wine and a dinner and you're like, oh, it's only $15 for
me and you. I eat most. I did get for the first time I tried affogato or whatever.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's really good.
Ice cream
with
in
espresso.
Coffee.
Yeah, it was really good.
What about that wouldn't be great?
I just always held off on it. And then I was like, this is my favorite thing now. This sucks.
Yeah. No, it's brutal. It's amazing. Shit, what were we talking about? Dive bars. Oh, dude, speaking of blood, where a bar where everybody's bleeding. That's great. That's great, by the way. You should use that for something.
Yeah, maybe I will.
I
You should talk about your drinking thing.
Oh, is it interesting?
Yeah.
On stage?
Definitely talk about stuff.
I feel like I hear a lot of people talk about sobriety, and it's just like my eyes gloss over.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like you have to bring a real,
Oh, yeah.
You have a real experience to it. I think a lot of people in comedy, they have like the filler punchlines.
Right.
Like someone can have a great therapy joke, but there's going to be a million. So I want to fuck my therapist.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what a fun twist.
Yeah. Oh, you also want to fuck your therapist?
Yeah.
which is weird because it's an old man.
Anyway, he's my dad now.
Yeah, I want to do comedy where I just go up and I go, I'm garbage. I mean, I know I look hot, but I'm garbage.
I'm bad in bed.
I'm fucking I hate sucking dick. God, it would be so easy to be a woman. You just go up and be like, hey, men are bad. And people are like, fucking good one. Nice. I don't know. Actually, I think the flip side of it is they get a lot more engagement online, but all of it is like, kill yourself, you whore.
So much
all
of
they
it's
do
bad.
All they do is get death threats.
Just fat slobs being like, I would never fuck you.
I would never come near you.
And then their story of the girl's story is a screenshot of that guy being like, oh, I would love to fuck.
Yeah, that is funny. When they're like, you forget that half the once you're in your 30s, whatever, you assume that everybody that you're talking to on the internet is you. It's your
like a
friends.
normal person.
You forget that it's like a fucking 14-year-old whose dad beats him.
Yeah.
And then he goes online and he's like, you're a fucking ugly bitch. And he's like, please let me touch you. like it's
anybody
just,
that comments something hateful, you know they want to fuck that person.
right. Or they're just out of their minds.
Yeah, you can't comment. Even if it's good, sometimes you're like, you're a little weird.
Yeah,
Someone that's always like, love, 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 love. You're like, ooh.
Yeah, I don't get those.
When I was on the road with Preacher, he would have, that's funny.
Yeah.
He'd have like super fans who were like between 20 and 50.
Yeah.
Like drive to
Yeah.
every get, and you're like,
Yeah, it's insane.
you're watching the same hour
Oh.
5 weeks in a row?
Would it bother him? Because he does like
No, he's
comedy
very,
tricks, right?
He is very nice.
I think Veronica might be here.
Is that Honey Garlic?
Yeah, that's Honey Garlic. What's up, Honey Garlic?
Hey, Honey Garlic.
How's it going? What? Dog's out of the bag.
My cat's kind of like a dog.
Sure. All right. Are we done?
All right.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. What was your name again? All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.